So in today's mini lesson we're going to look at the multi-stage fitness test, also known as the Bleep test, but for your exam it's best to put the multi-stage fitness test. The purpose of the multi-stage fitness test is to look at a performer's aerobic endurance and VO2 max, or the maximum volume of oxygen that they can take in and utilise around their body without undue fatigue. Before completing the multi-stage fitness test, it is important for the performer to complete a sufficient warm-up. So they should raise their heart rate, raise their temperature and stretch their muscles dynamically, particularly in their legs. The assessor also needs to set up the equipment in a safe and appropriate area and go through with the performer what exactly happens in the multi-stage fitness test. In order to complete the multi-stage fitness test, two zones or two ends needs to be set up 20 metres apart. These need to be marked with lines or cones. Nearby to this area, the assessor needs to make sure that they've set up a sound system with a correct and calibrated bleep test soundtrack. On the soundtrack, there are bleeps grouped together in stages. In each stage, the time between each bleep gets progressively smaller and faster. Upon hearing a bleep, the performer needs to begin making their way across the 20-metre distance and arrive at the other end. They should aim to time their run so that they arrive at each end in time with the bleeps that they can hear. As the bleeps get quicker, they also need to increase their speed, which places more demands on their body, causing them to approach fatigue. As a performer approaches the limits of their aerobic endurance, they're not going to make the ends in time with the bleeps. At this point, they need to stop the test and they finish. The assessor notes down the level and stage that they've reached successfully. The performer can then compare the figure they achieved with the normative data tables produced by the multi-stage fitness test. According to their age and gender, they can then see what their result equates to in the maximum volume of oxygen uptake that they could achieve. Like most normative data tables, they can see if they were below, at or above average. With the multi-stage fitness test there are a number of advantages, the first one being that it is very simple to set up. So long as the performer or coach has access to a 20 metre space and a sound system that can be heard, they can complete the multi-stage fitness test. A second advantage is that multiple performers can complete the test at the same time. This is great for a team coach who doesn't want to spend too much time testing fitness, and they can get all performers to complete it at the same time. And a third benefit is that it's a maximal test. This means that we're not collecting data on a performer and then predicting or estimating what their maximal capabilities are. Instead, we're actually pushing them to their limit and taking that data as the raw result. How far they make it in the multi-stage fitness test is directly linked to the maximum volume of oxygen they can take in and supply to their working muscles. However, there are some drawbacks. The first is that it does require some specialist equipment. The distance we can create with cones, the sound we can play over a regular stereo, but the track or the CD that we need to play is calibrated and it's been designed specifically by the multi-stage fitness test. It's not just a series of random beeps. A second drawback is the fact that it is a maximal test. This relies heavily on the motivation and the person's own subjective opinion on what they think their limit is. What I mean by this is that a performer might drop out of the multi-stage fitness test because they think they've reached their limit, but they don't know what that is. They might have reached their 80 or 85% maximum intensity and stop, but really they could have gone on for another 2 or 3 minutes and achieved the highest score. Working at 100% requires high levels of motivation and high levels of effort, and it can be quite difficult to achieve this if the performer isn't feeling it on the day of the test. As a result, the performer could achieve a lower score than what they're actually capable of. A third drawback to the multi-stage fitness test is that it is quite time consuming. If a performer makes it through multiple stages, then they could be running for 15 or 20 minutes. Another drawback is that the environment can heavily influence the test results. Floor surface, weather, time of day, nutrition, all of these factors can actually influence a performer's ability to complete the test to their best. So to summarise the multi-stage fitness test, it looks at performers' aerobic endurance and VO2 max. It's completed by a performer running a 20 metre distance in time with successive bleeps that can be heard over a sound system. These bleeps get faster and faster as a performer progresses through the test, and the stage they reach can be linked to their VO2 max test using normative data tables. Some benefits are that it's quick to set up and that it's a maximal test, so it creates that raw data at the end of the test. And for a coach, it's brilliant because they can test multiple performers in one sitting. Some drawbacks, however, because it's a maximal test, it does require high levels of motivation and effort to complete properly. It can also be influenced quite heavily by external variables such as the environment, the surface or nutrition. So that's the multi-stage fitness test. I hope you found that mini lesson useful. If you did, then feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel and you can be kept updated with all the video and content we're going to be bringing you. Alternatively, if you want to learn more about the private tuition or the teaching and learning resources that we provide, then visit us at thepetutor.com and you can reach out to one of our team. I hope to hear from you or see you soon.